Beautiful morning light glancing off of the legendary pagoda that tells us we are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hi everybody and welcome. This is the final race of the 2020 Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx Championship. And as we come into this final round, Cal, unbelievable what we saw in the race yesterday. One of the most fascinating, exciting, interesting races that you could imagine. Will this one live up to it today? Well, it's got all the makings of it. 2 of the 3 championships still open.
It's really crazy, Greg. That race yesterday, so much drama, a real roller coaster ride for many of the championship contenders. In fact, 3 of the 4 championship contenders received drive-through penalties, but strong recovery drives, they've minimized the damages. And we look at the points right now. This is the Pro-Am division. You see there the 47 NOLA Sport entry of Jason Hart, Matt Travis, a slim 5-point margin. But put that into perspective, if Dynan and Foley win here this morning, there's nothing that Hart can do about it. Nothing that those guys can do. If they finish second, that's a 7-point swing. You get deeper into the field, a lot of possibilities there. And when we swing over to the silver class, it's even tighter. It's just a 1-point margin. And that's going to mean essentially whoever beats the other car at the top of the championship standings there will win the title. It's a 1-point swing right now. You see the 828 car, ST Racing, BMW, Harry Gottsack, and Nick Whitmer, 1 point over Colin Mullen, Jared Andretti. Whoever finishes in front of the other, that will do it, unless you get down to like 9th and 10th. Then it'll be a tie break, and the 28 car has that with 4 wins to 3 this year, but it's going to be really tight. Yeah, it's just fascinating going into this, and the race yesterday was immense in terms of, I mean, it just flew by. You know, when the white flag came out, it was like, I can't believe this is over already. Remember, folks, this is Sprintx, 2 drivers per car, mandatory pit stop and driver change right in the middle, but no tire change, no refueling. So the starting driver can't just burn these things to the ground. You've got to leave something for, in this case, particularly in the Pro-Am category, the pros start and then the Am takes over. You want to make sure they've got good tires. You do, and essentially with that pit stop window 25 to 35, you expect in the Pro-Am entries the pro guy to stay out there as long as possible, eat up most of the clock, extend the margin if possible. And the silver entries, well, we see some of the drivers coming in very early. They're very evenly matched. They'll look at strategy. Will they come back out onto the racetrack? What is going on? If you stay out, you roll the dice. If there's your yellow, you can get caught out by that. So many things to think about for the strategists here this morning. Well, and add to that, the temperature is so chilly out there, Greg. Yeah, it's 45 degrees here right now. Very, very chilly. And I was going to ask, yesterday we still had another race to go in this championship, and yet the aggression level was absolutely pinging. What's going to happen here in terms of that strategy? You're going to put it all on the line, and the interesting thing yesterday was the dynamic. You had cars from different classes duking it out and getting into each other and receiving penalties. So I think big picture is the main thing, but everyone knows the scenarios is very simple. They just got to go out there this morning and execute. And the fascinating point for me yesterday was the cars that got in trouble, that were either knocked off track or got a drive-through or whatever, had cautions that came up at exactly the right time. The Andretti-Mullen duo made it into the pits for their drive-through right before a caution came out, brought them right back into play. So much happening here. There you see Michael Dynan outside front row on pole they're actually qualifying second in the class. The car to his left, that was Patrick Gallagher who'll be starting that car. That's the Not Lad Racing by RS1. Celebrated his birthday yesterday with an overall pole. That's great news indeed, but Dynan starting on the outside of that front row. Robbie Foley is actually in that car. That's control your destiny position, isn't it? Well, there's guys out there who just want to win. Jan Halen put together a brilliant performance yesterday. He was duking out with championship contenders. He doesn't care about their day. You've got guys like Patrick Gallagher sitting alongside his best friend Robbie Foley on the front row. He wants to win. So you got championship contenders thinking big picture. You got guys to finish off the season on a high trying to get that victory. Yeah, and the interesting thing with Foley starting on the outside of the front row and second overall, the guys they're racing in the championship start in the 10th spot in the overall run order here. So Jason Hart, he has work to do. Matt Travis very quick, but so's Michael Dynan. It's going to be fascinating to see how that all plays out. Yeah, Michael Dynan did not have the best of days. He's had such a tremendous season. 15 victories, 10 in Sprint, 5 in Sprintx, and that's why he's clinched the Sprint title already and going for his 2nd title this year today. But he didn't have a good day. They really needed to sit Michael down last night, settle him down a little bit, think about where he wants to make his moves. I mean, this racetrack has provided awesome racing, a great dynamic for these GT4 cars to go side by side through multiple corners. And Michael just got caught out a little bit. So I'm sure he had to sit down last night, have dinner with Robbie Foley, and just think about how do we execute here this morning.
Well, as the cars head out on their 2 formation laps, let's take a look at this track layout, Cal. And it's flat, but it presents some great challenges, and as you said, seems awfully raceable.
It really is, and this road course is not quite as long as the Speedway, just shy of 2.5 miles with the 14 turns, and it all starts with that big rush across the outer bricks into Sector 1. Long run down into Turn 1, good overtaking opportunity, then it's very technical through the next few corners, then it opens up once again down Holman Boulevard as you get into the middle of Sector 2, tightens up again, and then Sector 3 really starts to open up and flow. Key corner is 13, 2 from the end of the lap. You've got to get that one right to get that exit speed and get down this front straightaway.
And down in what I'm sure is a chilly pit lane, third member of our team, Ryan Marine. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. You hit the nail on the head. The talking point on the grid before this race was, without a doubt, those temperatures. You say 45. I'm not quite sure it is 45 degrees down here. You can't keep your glasses on your face without them fogging up. It's one of those types of Midwestern fall mornings, that's for sure. I had a chance to talk about that topic with Robin Pemberton, who oversees the Andretti Autosport operation. They're the ones that are very much in the silver championship fight. Jared Andretti, Colin Mullen. And he said he thinks that the temperatures being what they are will actually lead to increased grip in the track. And he also thought that the teams that are starting this race on scuffed tires versus stickers, usually a disadvantage. He does not think that's going to be as big of a disadvantage because of the lower track temperatures here this morning. We'll have to wait and see. I did ask him, have they ever tested this McLaren in conditions anything remotely similar to what we're seeing this morning? He said, we're about to go testing. So we'll see, guys.
Testing on the fly, and in fact, just getting word from race control, they're going to add a third formation lap. Clock will start. This is a 60-minute timed event. Clock will start after the second one as originally planned, but because of these cold temperatures, Cal, they want to give these cars and drivers an opportunity to make sure that those tires and brakes are nice and toasty.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart move, and just allows them to gradually build up those temperatures. You can see the drivers weaving around, and the other option to get some heat into those tires is to really work the throttle and the brake pedal at the same time, just kind of really ramping up the brake temperatures. That then comes up through the upright, into the wheel, and ultimately into the tire carcass itself. So lots going on here, and there's so much on the line. There's going to be a lot of tension inside those championship contenders' helmets, and certainly for the drivers who have nothing to lose, they're going to try and go out on a high here. It's a bucket list item for anyone to drive at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Greg. Look at those stands. We're going to have some crowds filtering out throughout the course of the day. 10,000 fans have been allowed in this morning, so it's going to be a spectacular event.
And right there, that yard of bricks that everybody looks forward to crossing at some point in their career. And boy, I'll tell you, this morning light, absolutely stunning here, but that can present its own problems. Low sun in the sky, certain corners here, you're going to be entering or exiting blind.
Yeah, that will be a factor. So all of these things, you suddenly get out in the race car this morning, it's like, wow, I didn't realize I'm going to be dealing with that right now. You can see the sun bursting through there onto the 51 Panos. We had a great run here yesterday. Parker Chase, Roman DeAngelis, who will start the race today, had another victory in the silver class. So they're again one of those teams that have nothing to worry about in terms of the championship fight, but want to go out on a high. They're going to give it everything. There's going to be a little argy-bargy you would expect through a lot of these corners.
Always love this shot, the compressed shot down the straight while the cars are doing the weaving back and forth. It's almost hypnotic in a way, and just points out some of the absolute beauty in a sport that can be very aggressive and rough at times. But it is something that everybody is so passionate about. This is the turn 7 area. They're using the tighter version of this corner, which I think is a great idea. We saw some great overtakes and overtake attempts, but a couple of really spectacular overtake attempts down there.
Yeah, and that turn 10 is a problem area as well. I mean, you can tuck your nose to the inside, as Jared Andretti did on Matt Travers yesterday and got called for the penalty when he turned him around. So Matt Travers did one in the sprint race and got away with it when he turned around Paul Terry. So it's marginal, and it's up to the race director to make those calls. And particularly on cold tires, these opening laps, even though they get that extra formation lap, the Pirelli P0s will not be into their sweet spot in terms of the temperature and grip. So if you get touched early, Greg, it's going to have even more effect.
Well, and the rules that they're using in terms of track limits here are pretty much, if you've got a tire touching the curb, it doesn't matter what side of the curb you're on. If a tire is touching the curb, you're okay. And in that turn 10, you can diamond that a little bit to really get the run out of 10, or you can flow into it and attack there. And you've got to choose your moment, I think, when you're going to diamond it if you've got somebody behind you. But I think that almost that decision to be that open in terms of track limits is really allowing some people to try and get really aggressive. And I think if you're the guy that's being overtaken in one of those corners and you know that the guy that's going to try and pass you can get to the inside of that curb and still be okay, you're going to take it to the curb as you turn in. And I think that's something, a lot of lessons learned yesterday, I think, in that regard.
Yeah, I think they really did. You think about Matt Travis, who they put an extra entry into the sprint race for NOLA Sport, just to learn how you race here, where are the problem areas, get some more data for the car. As a compressed weekend, not a ton of practice time, so any little bit helps.
Yes.
All of these teams now, it's all on the line. There's no coming back from this. There's no tweaking on the chassis. Maybe make a quick tire pressure adjustment during that pit stop, but that's it.
As you can see, clock has started as we are on that third formation lap behind the Acura NSX, the official safety vehicle of SRO Motorsports America. Good look there. And Harry Gottsacker didn't quite get the qualifying he wanted, as we said back in 11th. Do want to give a shout out to Russell Walker. He and his dad, David Walker, in the PaveCon Porsche, came in from NOLA Sport, won the AM class yesterday, and Russell Walker out-qualified Jason Hart in that qualifying session that was setting up today's race that ran yesterday. They are really on form, and NOLA Sport has been very much on form. It's going to be interesting because another of the NOLA Sport cars has already clinched that AM championship. So can this car manage to get another win, and can the 47 team car make it a double season championship for NOLA Sport? A lot to be decided.
Yeah, and I think the key for Russell Walker, he wants to get that AM victory here today to create the double here at Indy, but you'd have to think he's going to give Jason Hart a little bit of room here. I mean, Hart, Gottsacker, they're in the danger zone. They're mid-pack. There's so much action there on this opening lap.
And to get to the front, you're going to have to get after it pretty quick here. Now, this is turn 12 they're coming into, and this is the turn. The next turn is the one that we've talked about, that you've got to give up the exit a little bit. Right here, you don't want to be more than mid-track as you come out to really get the run you need out through 14 and up onto the speedway. And it's all going to get settled now. The clock has started, and there is about 57 minutes yet to go in this final round of the championship for Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx. Watch for the flag at the flag stand. It's green. Final race of the season is underway, and Patrick Gallagher eases into the lead, but look at the move right away by the 47 of Hart, trying to get up and around a couple of cars here and make a big move early. 3 abreast down into turn 1, Cal.
Andrew Davis deep on the brakes in the black and blue GMG Porsche. Just squeezes Robbie Foley. Foley tries to slot in here. Difficult to get that done cleanly, but he does it. Yeah. Foley sets into that third spot. Now DeAngelis looks to the inside, almost gets into him.
Incredibly close, as you said, and Foley has got to be really, really careful here until things settle a bit. Up front, Gallagher going. Foley getting a great run through turn 6. Is he going to try something to get back around Andrew Davis? So far, looks like the field doing a nice job. Hart did get up a couple of spots right at the off, and Halen down to the inside now of DeAngelis.
Yeah, and he squeezes him there on the exit. That allows Kenton Cook there to get a run in the B Sport Aston Martin. They had a big day yesterday as well, finishing on the podium.
Yeah, Kenton was absolutely flying at the end of the race, and Brian Pudd did a superb job in his stint. They're going to be factors as well. There's a look at Hart. Then right behind him, the number 50, Ian James, and then Colin Mullen in that blue and orange window world. So tough down into turn 12. And James, so experienced, giving him a little bit of room, but keeping it pinned. Now through 13, heading to 14.
That was smart by Ian James. He would have seen that. McLaren knows they're in the championship fight, gave him a little bit of room, but didn't give him the position. He's out there to race.
So as they come through right now, Mullen doing what he needed to do. He's in the 9th spot right now. A couple of cars clear of Gottsacker in that battle. Now Mullen looking to get back around James, couldn't get that done. And 2 cars behind Mullen right now sits Gottsacker. That's your silver battle.
Right now, these Pirelli P0 should be getting up to temperature and giving the drivers the grip that they're looking for. See Bill Orlin, he had a big charge through the field there. That bright red and white Bimmerworld number 82 entry got the car up on the podium from deep in the pack after his teammate had a little spin early on.
Right now, he's parked right behind Harry Gottsacker, and they're running in 2 different categories. They're both running BMWs. Bill is a BMW man through and through. Is he going to try and help Harry work his way up through this field?
Well, you'd have to think there was some conversation last night amongst the teams and amongst the brands in terms of helping each other out. Like, don't give anyone a win, but certainly don't get into them and ruin their day and their championship potentially.
Just be aware of who's in championships here. Absolutely, as we watch that red line River World, BMW in the hands of one of the legends, Bill Oberlin, just tracking right behind Gottsacker right now. They sit in that 11th and 12th spots overall. Again, not in the same class. Gottsacker running in the silver category, Oberlin and Walker running in the Pro-Am class. Up front, Gallagher's margin about, well, let's see what it shows this time, a little over a second, 1.2 over Davis, and then another small chunk back to Foley, and then Halen.
This is Foley's worst nightmare. He's got a very aggressive Jan Halen up on the wheel behind him. He's got Andrew Davis, who's a very respectful driver. He's going to drive hard, but I don't think he's going to rough Robbie up. So Robbie really, you can see, he's working Andrew over here through this turn 5-6 chicane. But Jan Halen has been really quick through there, not afraid to abuse the curbs a little bit, and gets a run down Holman Boulevard.
Well, and that's going to be the story, as you said, for Foley, obviously. If he tries
to
attack, and Halen way down to the inside, dirty part of the track, decided better of it, tucks back in.
This is sketchy stuff right now.
Yes.
I mean, championship on the line, and you get over in the dirty part of the racetrack, you're not going to slow the car down. You get into the ABS, suddenly that takes over a little bit. See everyone just getting inside that apex curve for turn 10. This allows you to release the wheel a little bit sooner and carry more exit speed. Really nice flow here through sector 3 at this racetrack.
And I'll tell you, Jason Hart did what he needed to do in those opening couple of laps as he moved up from that qualifying spot back in 10th. He now sits 7th overall, 6th in class. And it's important to note that up front, Gallagher, Davis, Foley, Halen, Cook, those are all Pro-Am cars here at this stage.
Yeah, and you know that everyone's doing the math. Certainly the guys on pit lane, on the pit boxes are doing it, but the drivers are doing it in their head at the same time. Foley will be saying, where is Hart? You can see a little bit of a lock up there from Ken and Cook, feeling the pressure from behind. Roman De Angelis, surprised to see that Panos fading back a little bit in these early laps.
Yeah, me too. That's a platform that you would have thought would be pretty strong here, but maybe they've also got it set up to preserve the tires a little bit early here, and it'll come on a little bit later in the race as we watch Foley working again through that very fast left-right flick that is turns 5 and 6. Important to get through there, the exit of that leading corner 4 through 5 and 6, well, because this is an overtaking opportunity down into 7.
You see Jan Halen there aboard the number 37 RS1 Porsche, really dancing. Car is twitchy, he is fighting it. Look at him work the wheel, Greg.
Yes. He is up on it. It tells you that he is running at 10/10. There is a very interested Jared Andretti right now watching how this one is unfolding. And we've talked about it before as we now take a look at that car. And Colin Mullen, when he ended up joining the team, they started with a couple different drivers. Carl Thompson had a run in it. I believe David Donahue did. But Colin Mullen has just become, I think, the consummate teammate in this silver program.
He's the perfect fit. He's very quiet, unassuming, but very polished at the same time. Ticks all of the boxes in what you're looking for, a young man who's coming up through the sports car ranks quickly. Good fit for Jared Andretti. I think that dynamic is good. Right now he holds the position that is necessary to claim the championship title. He's running ahead of Harry Gottsacker, who's a couple of positions back there. The important thing is the class position, and with the 1 point gap, unless you get down to 9th and 10th where there's only a 1 point margin, it's whoever finishes in front of the other car will claim the title here today.
And for Colin, good speed for sure, but I think even more importantly in many ways, good smarts. And that's really strong. You take a look here, you can see that the number 28 of Gottsacker, Oberlin has gone through. So Gottsacker, again, that's a Pro-Am car. It's not really affecting things, but he just needs to somehow get up and be a bit closer to Colin Mullen. And so when Andretti and Whitmer get behind the wheel, the battle's on. I think Harry just being really cautious right now. Look here at Matt Siljahaug in the Marco Polo Muellerized Colin Mar Architects KTM crossbow. And again, starting to smoke at the back, Cal. They have just had a problematic event. Oh, there's a little fire back there, actually.
Yeah. They had to change motors yesterday morning, meant that they missed the first round of qualifying. Car's been flying this season. He heads for pit lane. That's a shame. It's a really good little team. Muellerized, Marco Polo Motorsports.
Number of overall poles. Few
3
overall
wins on the year.
Yeah. And I hope everybody in pit lane, if they've been watching the monitors, knows that there's some flames looking at the back and are ready to deal with that. And they are. Great reaction there by that crew. They have a second car here running in the AM category, making its first start of the season, the number 74. More on that. As right now, Gregory Leafouge is starting to work over Harry Gottsacker. And the problem for Harry is you keep getting these cars that get by and get in between, makes it all the more difficult after the stops for Nick Whitmer to try and get back up to the back of that McLaren here.
Yeah, and it's all going to be all about that pit lane delta, trying to keep that as tight as possible. If you haven't used your joker yet, use that 1 second margin. Oh, the 26. Drama again for the classic BMW. Got together with the 69 here. That's through turn 4, I believe.
Yep, exactly. That's the BGB Porsche. I think that's John Tisi.
I don't think they're going any further, so this will bring out a safety car. Let's take a look at it. TC with a late lunge down the inside. That's...
Oh, yeah.
Weird. It's like the right front.
I was just maybe that...
throwing out. Maybe it had already broken. That's why he had no control, because it looked like the right front was outside the wheel arch even before he made contact there.
Yeah, so maybe he clouded the curb or something and the wheel broken.
Lost some braking ability.
Yeah.
Because that was not on.
No, not at all.
And John's an awesome driver, very busy man, typically on a race weekend with operating the team as well as doing some driving. So,
and if that right front corner is broken, it's not going to be an easy extraction out of that gravel trap either. So as we have the full course caution, Gallagher, who built up a nice little handy lead, is going to see that evaporate, but it's going to pack this field up. Not that there are any really big gaps that have developed too much here at this stage. It's been a close formation running.
It is, and by the time we get this cleaned up, we're then going to be very close, I would imagine, to that pit stop window opening. So it's about 12.5 minutes before that moment occurs.
And by rule, I think, if there's a caution before the pit stop window opens, if it runs into that window opening time, they'll delay the opening time, correct?
That's correct. So it just moves the whole 10-minute window further into the race. But 12 minutes, I would think they'll get those cars out of there, but it'll be tight.
Yeah.
But it's not going to allow you, like Patrick Gallagher, to build up that gap immediately. So we expect him to stay in throughout the course of that 10-minute window, pit towards the end of that to maximize his speed here this weekend. Andrew Davis, you would imagine, would do the same thing. The silver entries, where the drivers are more equally paced, you could see some strategy there. Saw Andretti Autosport bring their car in very early yesterday, Greg. And by doing that, you minimize the effect if there should be another safety car released during the pit stop window. You've got your pit stop done, and then suddenly the pace car gets out there and slows everyone down. That should be your advantage.
One question that I have too is with these cold temperatures here, and now under the control of the safety car, you're going to lose a lot more heat than you might normally do in those tires, I would think. So when we go back to green, once again, you're going to have to be pretty careful.
For sure. So all of the same things apply in terms of the grip level with the car, and then if you should get touched through the first few corners, there's not as much grip to the track that you normally expect. So again, it's a tension-filled moment again for the championship contenders in terms of getting this restart correct, not getting attacked from behind, staying clear of damage most importantly.
Taking a look once again, Robbie Foley sitting in the 3rd spot in the Pro-Am category, and Jason Hart in 6th, 7th overall, Foley 3rd overall, so 3rd to 6th. Jason is doing maybe just enough here with that points margin, but he certainly would like to get around a couple more cars. And we watched that KTM crossbow for Marco Polo head to the pits. Ryan, tough day.
It is indeed, and it's too soon to say apparently what exactly has gone wrong, but we do have Nikolai Elganian here Tell you what, Nikolai, it's been a season of ups and downs. You have had some incredible pace. You've also had some misfortune along the way. Now that it's kind of come to a close prematurely, unfortunately, how would you assess your season here in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any new car that there's going to be a lot of problems. There's going to be some bugs that are unforeseen. So with all that being said, we had a lot of fun this year, and we're really happy with how the car came out. It is what it is in racing, and you just have to be patient. We're really happy to see the car perform well on tracks that were not great for the old KTM. So I think once we sort out all this, it's going to be a really great car.
Through it all, it's been remarkable. It seems like you always have a smile on your face. You and Mads seem to really click. This seems to be a dynamic duo. Might we see more of it in the future?
I really hope so. Mats and I really get along, and if we can manage to get the team to get both of us back on, we would love to have that happen.
Excellent. Well, sorry to see you out so soon, but appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
He's a gentleman, Cal, that you referred to as the Daniel Ricciardo of the SRO paddock.
Yeah, he's always got a big smile, and I think even with the mask on, you could see there wasn't a lot of expression in his face in a joyous way, but they got things to build on. I mean, the car's shown tremendous pace. As he said, the dynamic of this car is so obscure in terms of where it had its pace before. It's a flying machine around the corners. It had no pace down the straightaway. They've put some changes into effect to try and balance that out with a narrower tire package, a little bit more horsepower. And it's great to see they have a second entry here this weekend, Greg.
Yeah, they do, and it is one of the drivers is Vincent Piemonte, who at Circuit of the Americas a couple weeks ago ran in the touring car division just as a toe in the water, and he's a Hollywood stuntman who does a lot of racing in NASA, Western Endurance Regional Racing Championship stuff. The other driver who's behind the wheel now is Dieter Heinz Kiora. He's the founder of HG Trackside, which is a coaching and driver development and program management company. Did a lot of work with Max Root, and we know where Max his success has gone. But here, to me, is the really compelling story for that 74 car. And for Dieter, his grandfather, Heinz Getz, in 1956 was named crew chief for Augie Pabst, the legendary Augie Pabst, when he was racing the Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing. And so racing runs very deep in this family's blood veins as well. And Dieter Heinzen, it's great to have him in the championship along with Vincent.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great story there, Greg, and it'd be wonderful to see them come back for next year as well. Spoke to the team yesterday, said right now it's just a one-off, but we're in discussion. We'd love to see that pairing back for 2021.
They've had a lot of success in that NASA, like I said, Western Endurance Championship. Vincent actually running in the SEC runoffs a couple of times in the T3 category. So passionate, certainly, about his racing. We know that Dieter Heinz is, so I think that would be great. And if you do have two cars in a program, it's just you can go different directions on setup ideas, and it just really can help flatten that learning curve.
It can, and I think if they get over some of these technical issues they've been having with the turbo mainly and the engine in general, that will allow you to focus more on the setup of the race car. So expect them to work hard. I know they've been doing a lot of testing once we got out of the lockdown and the COVID situation this summer, but they got a nice long off season now to regroup and get ready for the next season.
Look here at the number 17, that's the Racers Group machine, the Silver State Medical Consultants, Fast Life TV, and of course the Solve Solutions portion from Kevin Buckler's Racers Group. You can see the Racing Series wines on that car as well, and currently running second in the AM category, have done the full season, and have put up some really impressive numbers. I mean, 6 times on the podium in the AM class, and just having a good time. Dr. Rappaport, a orthopedic spinal surgeon, and of course Derek DeBoer is just one of those adventure men. There's no question about it, and Derek is a wheelman.
He is. He's a real racer, and he works really hard with his racing programs to give good return on the investment and value to all of his partners. So they work hard at it. I mean, I know they would love to get a win in this final race of the championship season, but they always put in a brilliant effort. And Battle of the Wineries too. Kevin's Adobe Wines. We've got Totori Farms involved as well. So it's great to see. And as we say that, our thoughts and best wishes to everyone over in the Napa Valley right now with the horrible wildfires they're experiencing.
Yeah, just devastating there. You see that Panos that's doing the bob and weave as well. Let's get down to Ryan with some information from that team.
Hey, we were wondering what might be going on. We're a little bit surprised to see Ian running as far back as he is in the 8th spot, and I checked in with the team. No problems with the car, but one aspect of these conditions we haven't talked about yet is the sun. And he said there's parts of this track, and this is his quote, "I'm driving by braille." He basically can't see because of the glare. His co-driver Matt Keegan said that he's been on the radio saying he's been using lines in the grass alongside the car to know where he is on the track. That glare is really, really bad this morning. Matt said he really hopes in about 10-15 minutes or so when he gets behind the wheel, that sun's come up a little bit and that problem will resolve itself.
Yeah, when you're hustling through a corner, that's a sketchy scenario, but I'll tell you, Ian James has been around long enough. He's experienced pretty much everything and certainly knows how to react to it, and is a master as well at preserving tires and the like. And so Matt Keegan, I'm sure, is anxious to get behind the wheel of that beautiful machine.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, maybe if you had an early morning session, you maybe drop that windshield banner down a little bit, kind of great, almost like putting the hand in front of your top of your eye sight line there. But they'll deal with it and they'll adjust, and this will be a good little reset for everyone to get a better feel as we get back ready for the restart here.
There's a look at Mullen in that Andretti Autosport window world. McLaren currently sitting second in the class.
See the clock ticking down now inside 4 minutes of when that pit stop window should open. It's going to be tight. We could even see like one lap of green flag racing and people diving for pit lane. Here we go.
Back to green. This is close, and Gallagher read it beautifully. Got to that approved restart zone at 14 and dropped the hammer. Davis has just enough room on Foley, but look at Halen way down to the inside again. You can see that Porsche, Cal, starting to skate a little bit, and he just elected to get out of it. That's very dirty on that far to the right coming into that corner.
Yeah, well, he's got so much experience. You know he's going to be aggressive, and he looks to the inside now on Robbie Foley. Foley's just got to be eyes behind him more than eyes ahead right now, because that is the danger spot for him. If Jan Halen gets super aggressive, we see him down into the brake zones, but the Aston Martin is very strong in that area of the racetrack as well.
And then right behind them, DeAngelis, there's Kent Cook just taking a peek. And then behind him is Jason Hart. That is the NOLA Sport Porsche, the best energy car that is battling with Foley right now for the championship.
Yeah, right now as they run, you got Jason Hart sitting in 6th position in class. And that right now would mean that there's enough of a margin for Foley and Dynan to take the title, but as we can look at the clock, there's a long way to go in this one.
Yes, there is.
It'll be a pendulum, I'm sure, in terms of the point swing.
And in the other category, as we've been talking about, Mullen keeps that McLaren a couple cars clear of Gottsacker. That one's easier to figure out, as long as they're kind of both up in the top 5. Whoever finishes in front, that's it.
Travis, fingers crossed, ready to go. He did a great job yesterday after getting turned around to drive back through the field and get it up at the sharp end before he turned it over to Jason Hart. Was a wonderful, wonderful drive. He's been really quick here this weekend. I think that extra seat time has really benefited him and the whole group.
Yeah, well, he scored 2 poles yesterday, one in the sprint category overall, and one in the Sprintx category. He certainly got the speed, and I think that ploy of entering him in that sprint category has really paid some dividends here. Boy, Foley really got some good run through turn 6. Davis knows it. There's Michael Dynan. Let's see the energy and the nerves, and also fingers crossed. Davis just hanging on.
Yeah, he just protects in the middle of the road, so it'd be a super aggressive move to make an overtake possible for Robbie Foley right now, particularly whilst these tires are still really strong. They've had a cool down period as well. Not a lot of track temperature this morning, so they should be really in good shape, and until you get a little bit of tire degradation, it's going to be hard for Robbie Foley to make a move cleanly without taking some risk.
There is Colin Mullen again, second in class, 9th. Doing what he needs to do right now, and I'm sure just being very, very careful, not taking any significant risks.
3 cars back of him sits Harry Gottsacker. There he is in the number 28 ST Racing BMW. What a performance that whole group has put together this year.
Yep.
And Nick Whitmer, Harry's teammate, he has shown tremendous speed, so does the pace swing one way or the other when we get the driver change done here halfway through?
Well, Leafouche right now takes a look, comes knifing down the inside of Gottsacker, and Harry absolutely no fight, recognizing not my class. Don't like having those extra cars in front, but you're not going to defend heavily on somebody who's out of your category.
No, and they're so close to that pit stop window opening. I think the leaders even can take it this next time by, as we now hit 35 minutes to go.
Well, by Harry's own admission, he said a few times this season that Whitmer has just been, as he said, a beast. And I think we'll see Harry duck in, get Nick in that car and see what Nick can do.
It's all about the combination and respecting what you both bring to the table. I'm sure for Harry, it's like, okay, Nick is really at home with this car. He's got a little bit more pace, not a ton, but you know, you just play to the advantage of that. So will we see the 28 car here duck in early and try and get Nick Whitmer up behind the wheel?
Window is open.
Expect a lot of the Pro-Am entries to stay out. As we said before, the pros started this race. You want to maximize their seat time. But for the silver cars, here we go. Gottsacker in.
Serralo in.
Everyone getting ready. Charlie Belluardo, I think they're getting his helmet on, coming off that brilliant victory yesterday with he and Jan Halen. Panos is in. Parker Chase getting ready to jump aboard.
Charlie was one of the other drivers, along with Brian Putt, who I thought really stood out in their stints yesterday from the AM side of the Pro-Am equation.
Yeah, it really was, because he was duking it out, I mean, for the lead. He did not want to give it up. That was a great, strong outing for him. That really set the stage for Jan Halen to do what he does.
Hitting his marks carefully is Harry Gottsacker, Ryan.
It's the opening strategy gambit here in the final race of the Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx season. Out comes Harry Gottsacker, a champion last year. In goes Nick Whitmer. This ST Racing team very good on pit lane yesterday. They're going to need to be perfect here today. The strategy, try and get the slightly faster, at least this weekend, Nick Whitmer behind the wheel. See if he can get out and clean track and use that to his advantage. Maybe leapfrog their championship rivals from Andretti through this pit sequence. Really smooth driver exchange. They are sitting, they are waiting. That is a great sign. Just trying to make that mandatory time on pit lane. ST Racing's driver change is complete.
And he exits out, Whitmer does, and you saw the mechanic down on the front. Was he possibly taping over the brake cooling ducts to try and get some more temp in those?
Yes, certainly could have been doing that. And this is the key. I'm trying to recall from yesterday, I think it was the Flying Lizard group who may have used their joker up yesterday.
I believe you're right,
three of the other contenders did not. So let's see who cuts it fine here today.
Watching the Gottsacker to Whitmer, not bad. 1.8, 2.6 seconds long, actually. So they left a little bit on the table again.
They really did. 96 seconds is the minimum. So they would, as you said, almost 3 seconds out of that. Colin Mullen comes in a lap later. Jared Andretti jumping on board.
Ryan?
They didn't wait very long at all. They saw what ST Racing did and immediately got to work. Jared Andretti was already getting his gear on as the pit window opened, and I think they saw what ST Racing did and they reacted. Did not want to be caught out if there were to be a yellow or anything along those lines. Colin Mullen sprinted out of that car. Jared Andretti getting strapped in. Beautiful petty blue and day-glow red on that machine. A very similar livery to the one that Jared's father John used in the Indianapolis 500 a couple of times. Jared Andretti down and away.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Roman DeAngelis turning over to Parker. A long stop, Cal, so that didn't help. Oh, was this close? Not sure that they weren't.
Halen's got around Foley.
He did.
You know, Jan Halen, he wants to win, and he also doesn't want to see a Porsche in front of his Porsche.
Exactly.
A little bit of ego on the line as well. They're tight. They're coming down this front straightaway, drafting each other. Robbie elects to go high.
Look at that. Mullen to Andretti in Joker territory by 68 one-thousandths of a second. If they'd been 68 one-thousandths of a second quicker, penalty.
That is super squeaky.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Way too tight for anybody's comfort, but they made it work.
He used every ounce of that joker up.
Man, unbelievable. Gallagher Out front, margin about 4 seconds, and then this battle behind him, Davis, Hale, and Foley, Kenton Cook, and then Hart right there. Patrick Gallagher, birthday boy, as I said this weekend, and he has been flying.
Yeah, he's been dominant, hasn't he, with
Yep.
the pace in qualifying. Now this opening stint.
Fastest lap overall in the race yesterday, even though they had a slow stop, took him out of contention. So, and Matt Dalton had a brilliant drive yesterday from his best ever qualifying position, but again, all for naught with that slow driver change. But impressive performances by the drivers, and Davis comes in.
I was surprised by that. I would have thought they'd try and maximize his drive time. You got another couple of laps you could have worked with. 2 would be tight, but easy 1.
Well, it might be that this weekend Jason Bell isn't driving 8 races, so he wanted to make sure he got a little extra seat time.
They had a great weekend at Coda, getting an
Yes, they
overall
did.
victory in Sprintx, and on the same day Jason had a podium in the sprint race there, so cause for celebration.
Taking a look at, so Davis is in. Verhoeven is in after being extracted from the gravel, but again, keeping an eye.
ST Racing
the
brought the
players,
38 car in. Similar delta in terms of 98.6, same pit stop time, almost to the 100th that Harry Gottsack and Nick Whitmer. So it looked like the ST Racing team just elected to be a little bit more conservative with bringing the tightening of the belt.
Oh, and the door's open. I thought I
no.
saw that coming. I thought I saw something coming out of 6.
This will be so distracting for Jared Andretti. When he gets to the tight stuff, he's going to try and get his arm over there and try and grab it. Oh, we talk about drama. Who would believe championship on the line, final pit stop has happened. And obviously during that driver exchange, that door did not get buttoned up correctly. Will it latch itself down? When he turns right, it seems to load the car that way.
So once he gets on this front straight, it's a long one. Maybe he's got some time now. Yep.
There he goes.
Saw that hand reach over and grab it. Wow. Let's check in with Ryan.
Well, it's interesting that we see that. If you go back, I think it was at Road America, we saw the Flying Lizard McLaren have a similar issue at one point. And talking to some of the McLaren teams, this is a known problem. That latch is really finicky in that car. I guess it's derived from the road car. And so this is something that McLaren teams know about and have dealt with in various ways. And I think this is the first time we've ever seen it for Andretti Autosport, and it comes in the biggest moment.
I absolutely agreed, and yes, you're right that that Flying Lizard car had the issue. He didn't get it shut the first time down into 1, but I think it finally got latched, Cal.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah.
It's like when he turns to the right, the car loads that way, it seems to free it up. Not sure whether the body just torques a little bit that way. Sometimes when you slam it, it's not the same as actually putting pressure on the door itself, but I think you're correct, Greg. It's been opening in that sector of the track before, and now it looks good as we see the Dine and Foley exchange. Looks like the driver change is done, just waiting to release him. Ooh, this is a lot of pressure right now on these crews to execute.
You bet. Oberlin in as well, turning over to Walker for Bimmer World. We'll keep an eye on this clock here. We've seen passes made in the pits and positions lost because of this, obviously, but it's the, how did they do? Not bad.
Yep. They used the Joker up yesterday, so couldn't play with fire there. 97.1. Just left the second on the table. That's fine. That's fine. Here we see the championship contenders they're in.
Brian?
It is the world's fastest accountant, as we know, and Matt Travis getting strapped into the NOLA Sport Porsche. Jason Hart climbing out after an excellent stint. This is the second year in a row where the Pro-Am Championship has come down to the final stint of the year, and Matt Travis has been behind the wheel with a shot at it. He nearly won it with an amazing comeback drive in Las Vegas a year ago. He's got a different task ahead of him here, just maintaining after the great start from Jason Hart. A little bit slow, but not a big problem. Still plenty of time as they sit and they wait. This Porsche should be very good in these conditions, and Matt Travis is back out with about 25 minutes left in the season.
All right, and here's the number 37. Halen is in, turning over to Charlie Belluardo. And we would expect, so the only two are Kenton Cook and Gallagher that have not yet made a stop, but this is going to be huge. What is the timing on the Hart to Travis changeover here?
Well, Kenton Cook and Gallagher are leaving it really squeaky tight.
Ooh, incredibly close.
There they are. See it on pit lane now.
All right. So Hart, here is 36. Not bad. 0.9 over the minimum. Great stop.
As Michael Dinan comes out ahead of Belluardo and Matt Travis, I think it is, coming down pit lane.
You're absolutely right.
Good spot here for Michael to get into his rhythm. He's really in tune with this Aston Martin this year. He just got in amongst the pigeons yesterday. There was a lot of flapping going on. He couldn't really find his sweet spot in terms of his rhythm. But I think this is good to find this spot here. They left it close. That was like literally down to single digit in terms of seconds before that pit lane entry had to be sufficed.
Yeah. Looked like they were struggling a little bit getting Brian buckled in, but when Kenton shut the door, they could still sit there for a couple of seconds, so hopefully that'll be a good stop for them as well.
Magic from the cameraman. Yeah, I like that. Tomorrow on site.
I was just thinking that. Just thinking that. It was fun to see. So in the next lap, everything will cycle through. Gallagher, just for the information, has set fast lap again so far, thus far. And you would think it would stick because it was when the tires were at their freshest.
Right now, Dalton has the lead. Well, this is going to be it. It's going to be super tight here. Brian Putt now coming out of pit lane. If he can get in front, this is literally a battle for the lead. Right there, as you see the car exiting pit lane. Oh, Dinan really close there, and Dalton loses it a little bit. And Dinan squeaks through. Brian Putt follows him as well. I'm pretty sure this is for the lead with everyone now cycled through the pits, Greg.
I believe you are absolutely right. Yeah, Dalton had that little bit of a wiggle, a little bit too much speed. He flowed through, tried to carry through turn 2, but got it settled down enough to keep Brian Putt behind him. But that is a big development for Dinan.
Matt Travis deep down the inside, and Belluardo tries to create a little bit of room to get to the apex. There's a touch there. Got to be so careful you don't cut down one of those Pirelli P0s. It is go time for Matt Travis now. Robbie Foley, Michael Dinan lead this race. Dalton out wide there. If they win, there is nothing that Nola Sport can do. They came up short in the final race last season. Travis can see that picture right in front of him, with Michael Dinan holding the lead of this race.
Yeah, this is such great drama here. Travis gets through now on Dalton. And when you see those touches and you see that puff of smoke, that means that something contacted the tire, and that is always spooky, because no tire can withstand being cut, or you hit a valve stem or whatever. So I'm sure that's a little bit of concern. But now Travis has got to get through on Brian Putt in that very fast Aries Aston Martin. Looks like he got a little bit of a toe, moves to the inside.
This is going to be fascinating to see if he can cut into that lead. So now he's up to second, overall second in class. Putt tries to hang with him, just loses the rear end of the Aston Martin a little bit through that tightening up as you come through the turn 1-2 area. Travis head down, looking ahead. That's the leader. You got to go catch him right now.
It's that simple. And in the silver category, Andretti leads it, 6th overall right now. Whitmer second with just one car between himself. There is Andretti. There's Jason Bell in that number 2 Porsche. There is Whitmer. A lot of ground Whitmer's got to make up.
Yeah, so the chasers right now are Matt Travis trying to hound and chase down the 21 machine of Michael Dinan. And Nick Whitmer has to do the same thing to Jared Andretti. 20 minutes to play with.
And in either case here, certainly with Jared Andretti, you might catch him, but he is one of the more difficult passes to make in the paddock.
He's stubborn, isn't he?
He is. He is tenacious.
He's got the Andretti bloodline, and shows himself every single event. He's a monster on the opening laps, cold tires, just gets it done. When he's side by side with someone, he'll race you hard.
Here he is, and that description that Ryan gave of the colors on that car. Oh, look at this. Matt Dalton trying to come back on Brian Putt. Ooh, and Brian takes it in really deep. This is where Dalton got in the throttle and had that car wiggle a little bit a couple laps ago. This time nice and clean. And Charlie Belluardo right behind them.
Charlie looks really strong again here this morning.
Sure does.
Look at the crossover. I mean, this racetrack just seems to race so well with these GT4 cars, Greg.
It does. I think it's just really conducive to good battling. There's Whitmer. Keep an eye here on that margin from Andretti to Whitmer.
Whitmer just set personal best there at 31.6 to Andretti's 32.3. So that was a 7/10 delta there on that one single lap. He sits right now just over 5 seconds behind, so there's enough time at that pace to catch him.
The margin between Dynan and Travis up front last time by 3.5 seconds essentially.
Yeah, and running lap times within 2/100ths of one another with Dynan, just marginally quicker.
Great run through turn 14. You just flow all the possible speed you can. We talked about that turn 13. If you run too far to the right coming out of it, then you end up sometimes exiting. 14 is Dalton now down to the inside. But
he is super late. He's gone straight off the road there.
Yep.
Just missed it a little bit.
Yep.
Went in a little bit deeper than Brian. Gets back on track just in front of Jared Andretti. Here comes Jason Bell. And Whitmer's going to be in that picture soon as well. Fortunately for Andretti, he didn't lose anything, I don't think, in terms of time there. Now he's got a bit of a conundrum with these two duking it out.
Yeah, indeed.
Doesn't want to get too feisty, but he can't afford to just sit there and wait for the road to open up on him, because Nick Whitmer is coming.
Oh, what a move by Andretti. On Brian Putt, that was gentlemanly.
That was close.
That was very close, but I think he recognized this is one, a championship guy, two, it's Andretti, and I don't want to have the nose taken off of this Aston Martin.
Yeah, Jarrett's going to really try and push the issue down into the brake zone for turn 12. He goes to the high side. That was nice.
Yep.
That was really nice. Beautiful move by Jared Andretti. And that could be critical in terms of escaping through this traffic a little bit quicker than maybe Nick Whitmer can.
Yeah, that was ultra aggressive on two different corners there, and he made work as Mullen watches.
He looks calm, doesn't he?
He does.
I'd be sweating bullets. I'd be pacing up and down. It's hard to watch when your championship is in the hands of your co-driver and teammate, but they have a lot of belief in one another.
Whitmer in the background there has already gone around Dalton. So the margin
is tighter between Andretti and Whitmer, but Whitmer has cars to clear.
I'll tell you, Andretti getting those passes done decisively and fast. Like you said, that could really be it. Who he uses all of that curb and more. Here is a look. Now David Walker in that number 46 PaveCon NOLA Sport entry, leading an AM. And he's got a little bit of room between himself and Dr. Rappaport in the number 17 Racers Group Porsche. Then McAleenan in the number 3 McLaren, the USA Motorsports entry. Back to Jared Andretti.
When that door came open, I was thinking, oh no.
Yep.
That would not be the way to have the championship escape you, but they caught a little bit of luck there in terms of the latch finally securing itself. And he's now just got to put in the best laps of his season and bring it home. Matt Travis, head down. Wow, Dynan's last lap, a 31.9 to Travis's 33.1. That is huge.
Yes. That's a
Brings
second
that
and
lead
a
up to
half.
3.6 seconds.
Travis is wheeling it for everything he's worth. I wonder if they're dealing with some traffic now, and it looks like Travis may have got hung up just a little bit.
I think that's exactly what happened there. See Robbie Foley there with the mask on, looking down at the data. What a season they put together. Looking for their 6th victory in this class, which would be Michael Dinan's 16th win on the season. He had a troubled day yesterday, I'm sure. There's a lot of head scratching going on last night. Little twitch there.
He is wheeling it, trying to build that margin. It's currently 3.7 seconds last time by.
So he's continuing to build that margin. He was 3/10 up through the first sector, lost a couple in the middle sector to Travis. So over the course of the lap, they're pretty evenly matched, it seems, within a 10th or so of one another. But right now, as you can see, Dinan has that track position. He has the lead, and with it, that clinches the title.
Here he comes across the yard of bricks. Take a look at the margin. As I said, 3.7 last time through, 3.9. So he is getting it done right now, Cal.
Well, you talk about championship day, and all of the contenders have really performed. They run 1st and 2nd in both the classes, so the 4 championship contenders hold down the top positions. You can't ask for more than that. It's all about who has the edge and that big delta. If it was 2nd to 3rd, the championship would swing the way of the Nola Sport team, but because of the big swing in points, 25 points for a win to 18 for 2nd, Dinan's margin of 7 will overcome the 5-point deficit they came into this race with.
And meanwhile, Whitmer now has cleared both Putt and Belluardo, and he is 4.4 seconds behind Andretti with nobody between them at this point. And time is ticking away.
Yeah, probably about 8 laps to go, I would estimate. So he needs about half a second a lap to be with Jared Andretti by the end of this race.
Andretti clearing a bit more traffic. Here comes Whitmer.
Beautiful rhythm through that section. Just carving the turns, hitting his marks perfectly. Fantastic little team. Beautiful livery there, Greg.
Yeah. Van Gogh's Starry Night. They appreciate the artistry, that's for sure.
Once again, you see Jared Andretti chooses to use a little bit more of the road, exiting turn 13 and compromising his line up onto the speedway, but he obviously feels he's not hurting his lap time.
Whitmer, personal best, Cal, and now that margin's down to 3.2 from 3.9. He took a big
second
chunk
there,
out.
yeah. 31.6 to a 32.8 on a clear racetrack, so he has the pace. Andretti will be getting that message. He's got to go. He has to go. But Whitmer is absolutely flying.
He does not want to get held up anywhere here.
He should clear this McLaren down into the brake zone for turn 7 without any issues.
It's Todd Clark in the 111, the second of the Motorsport USA McLarens in the AM category. He gets through clean. A little bit of a wiggle in turn 4 as he was trying to get to the throttle early and get that run.
So he is catching Andretti, and Travis is catching Dinan. Took half a second out of the margin, and Whitmer's off the road.
Whew.
What a catch.
Yeah, brilliant save.
You know he's digging deep. Just keep doing what you're doing, Nick. You've got the pace right now, and you got enough time on the board. Obviously, if there's any kind of caution, you don't get all those green laps, that could be a factor. That's why he's digging deep early. Have to factor all of those things in. As we say that, there's a car stranded.
Sean Quinlan looking at this margin again between Andretti and Whitmer. Actually, those big moments for Whitmer cost him some time. The margin's back up to 3.8, Cal.
Yeah, that was one of those deals where he's just asking for every ounce of performance from those Pirelli P0s and just pushed it up and over that curb there.
Again, a look at the AM category leader, the 46 Pavecon NOLA Sport Porsche. They have just been on form today. Russell, the son, doing a great job in qualifying and in his opening stint, giving a handy margin to Dad.
There's Travis, looks closer.
Yes, he does.
Someone had a
Who was
spin there.
that?
Was
Yeah.
that the crossbow? Or? Yeah, it might have been the crossbow.
Indeed.
That had to be close for Travis.
Yeah.
He was just coming up on him right in that corner.
It's Vincent Piemonte. Oh, this is where the corner workers earn their keep. Big thanks to all of those quarter marshals out there. It's cold. They are out there providing that kind of information to the oncoming drivers. Oh, be careful how you enter.
He's a stunt man, Greg.
He knows what he's doing. He can hit. So, here we go.
Did that cost Travis through that final sector? No, it didn't.
No, he was able to get through.
But with that lap, Dynan gapped him by a second. Dynan looks to be in control up front here. Kind of a concertina effect, even on clear laps between these two leaders right now.
And on that last lap, Cal, Whitmer just turned a 131.9 to Andretti's 33.1. That margin is down now to 2.6 seconds.
And I think there's probably 5 laps to go in this race, so lots of time to work with. There you see it. There's the gap. Winterworld racing entry with one car further back. There is Nick Whitmer. He's going to want to try and clear this TRG Porsche as quickly as possible. He can't afford to wait around. Have to take a little bit of risk here.
Yep.
Oh, this is not helping him. This is not helping him.
Nicely done.
Yeah, but he lost.
He got held up.
There. Yeah, that
did.
was probably 3 to 4 tenths, I would estimate.
Yep.
That's where he dropped the wheel before.
This
How
is
tight do you like it?
This is drama.
Final 8 minutes of the championship season and nothing's decided yet.
Watching these margins here.
Look at Whitmer just dancing with that car right now. Totally in tune with it.
Travis, the margin, he was a tenth quicker than Dynan. That's not going to get it done. But for Andretti to Whitmer, identical laps on that last lap, essentially.
Yeah, well, I think that was because of the traffic.
Exactly.
So I think Whitmer does have more pace. Yellow is out. Is that a local?
I believe it is, yep.
The key for Nick Whitmer, you see the car off to the side there. Probably in a safe zone, I would imagine. Whitmer can basically see a big championship trophy on top of that McLaren in front of him. He's got to go and grab it.
It's a carrot you don't want to eat, so he's got to go grab it as quick as he can here.
Nervous cruise. Just praying that Jared Andretti can hang on through that first sector. Just a tenth in it there. Whitmer just marginally quicker than Andretti through the first sector.
It is just great rhythm through that part of the track, isn't it?
It's a great track. It really has great flow. So evenly matched. It looked like Andretti's got up on the wheel a little bit here, matching Whitmer sector for sector right now. Just needs the cleanest laps of his year. Just hit his marks, no little mistakes. Not a ton of traffic up ahead of them. They should have pretty clear road until the checkered flag here this morning. I don't think traffic will be a factor, Greg.
32-2. 32-1 for Whitmer, so Andretti doing what he needs to do.
He's responded.
He has.
Slightest little lock up there as the unloaded right front as he turns in.
James Walker now behind the wheel with that number 82. Redline Oil Bimmer World BMW under attack from Dalton.
Battle for 5th in class.
Dalton has gone deep here in this turn before.
The yellow there, so he can't try and
Can't make
the
that
move.
pass,
He's
yeah.
got the pace.
And I think you're right. I think where Quinlan's BMW's parked, I mean, something would have to go awkwardly wrong in turn 1 for anybody to get to it. The issue is it's kind of over by where that pit out area is, but with the pit stops done, that really shouldn't be a huge issue either.
And I think for the stewards as well, they recognize there's a championship on the line. They don't want to affect it. Certainly safety comes first. Big deep move by Dalton there down to the inside, and Walker Jr. gets the move done.
And Matt Dalton, who does not have a lot of racing experience, this weekend he's been up on that wheel. Fun to watch. Big wiggle there.
He's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
You called it. He's on a roll.
He truly is. There's Brian Putt, the Aries B Sport Aston Martin. In front of that battle. All right, across the line this time. Andretti actually quicker than Whitmer. I wonder if Nick has maybe just pushed those tires past their prime.
Thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah. Like if you're looking at a data trace, it's like they're suddenly just crossed over here a little bit in terms of the performance of the tires. Just a great drive here by Jared Andretti and the whole team in terms of the execution, the pit stop.
Nice move there. 25 now in the hands of Tim Barber, who's very quick, and John Miller right behind him. These two are auguring their way up through the pack.
Well, this will be a tasty little fight here because they're probably going to have a bit more pace than the guys that they're around. They're in their own little battle at the same time.
Wow! Oh! Big spin by Keegan. Did he keep it off of the barriers? He's still.
Wow. Kenny keeps him.
Yeah.
Get it refired. Ooh. You know this. Heart rate's rising up and down pit lane right now with championships on the line. Potential full caution. He gets moving. Should be good.
I think that second little spin he did was actually he was trying to just snap it and get around, and I think he hit the grass and it snapped more than he wanted here.
It was a crazy moment.
So close there.
You get a little tap right there. I think Barber might have got into him.
I think so. Right in the middle of everybody.
So close to Miller there.
He had it controlled and went to the throttle there in that grass. Well, yeah, hard to throw moment there for sure.
Up front, Dynan continues to lead by 2.7 seconds over Matt Travis for the overall victory, the Pro-Am win, and the title.
That was actually Parker Chase. I had that wrong. I apologize. Meanwhile, there's Dynan. That margin still 2.7 seconds as of last lap.
Just got to stay calm, cool, and collected. Matt Travis is pushing so deep. Wow, did he flow some speed through there? That is awesome. He is digging deep, giving it everything he's got. Car is working well.
Travis was a half-second quicker last lap.
Just had to come from so far back, Greg.
Ooh, right to the wall. What is it now? It's 2.7 last lap. 1.9.
Yeah, 7/10 delta there between the two leaders. But it's going to be 2 more laps to go. As you look at the time on the board, they're clicking off lap times just over 1.5 minutes. So next time through will be the white flag.
Last time Whitmer 0.3 quicker than Andretti. So what an absolute. Can you mix metaphors?
Go for it.
Cat and mouse game of chess. It's unbelievable. That's as close as we've seen Travis by far here, but you wonder too, one of the things Dynan has shown himself to be pretty adept at this year, and again, I think with that great tutelage of Robbie Foley and Darren Law and the Flying Lizard team, is managing things.
And Jim Bell as well, so much experience in that box. Thomas Blount with the group as well here this weekend. Big weekend for that group, running the 8-hour event with the Bentley under the K-Pax banner, of course, but same personnel essentially. Andretti's just done a wonderful job here.
Yes.
Just really kept that gap very stable. Whitmer looked faster through the first half of his stint. Jared just continued to plug away, hasn't made any mistakes, cut through that traffic brilliantly. As we said at the start of the show, this was all about who beat the other. That would seal the title, unless they were deep in the top 10.
There you see it, 1 lap to go, and that margin down to 1.1. It's that close. Travis is flying.
Unfortunately, it's hard to not see that bright yellow car in your mirrors.
That's very true. Look at the nerves.
Robbie Foley, he's had some big wins in his young career, but looking for that first big title. Can you believe the NOLA Sport team came up just shy last year? Aren't they looking at the same margin again here? Travis doing everything he can. Ryan just hitting his marks.
Look at this. Top 4 are 2 championship battles. As if it was meant to be. Boy, Andretti's doing a brilliant job. Colin Mullen looking on.
A lot of experience there. The Andretti Autosport team, and they seem calm. They seem ready to accept their spoils. Just a few corners to go.
Just be precise. Be precise and be clean. 2 corners to go. Dynan, the Aston Martin from Flying Lizard, rolls onto the throttle. Right behind him, Matt Travis, the NOLA Sport Porsche, onto the front straight. Dynan and Foley are champions in the Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx Pro-Am category for the 2nd year in a row. Travis and Hart for NOLA Sport just miss out, and Andretti and Mullen claim the championship in the silver category, Cal, for the Andretti Autosports McLaren, with Whitmer and ST Racing as close as you could be behind. 2 absolutely fabulous championship battles, and in looking at it here, the margin of victory for each was, you total it together, it was about 3.5 seconds.
Just an unbelievable finale. The track did its job, just created the perfect platform for these championship contenders to execute right down to the wire, Greg. That was just awesome stuff. Everyone brought their A game, and obviously had to swing one way or the other.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, for Dynan, as you pointed out, after that sort of rough day yesterday, boy, did he drive an absolutely stunning race today.
Well, they both knew that the championship was theirs if they won the race. That's exactly what Robbie Foley, Michael Dynan, Flying Lizard Motorsport went out and did, and the same thing for the Window World entry for Jared Andretti, Colin Mullen, Andretti Autosport.
There's the win in the AM category for the PaveCon NOLA Sport number 46 of the father and son duo, Russell Walker, the son starting it from class pole, and dad bringing it home for their 2nd straight win of the weekend. And to get back to the Andretti thing, the emotion as we watch Michael Dynan doing some celebratory donuts, and why not? You're a champion, my friend. But for Andretti, the emotion that I think he's dealing with right now, obviously lost his dad in January, and then wins the championship at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the Andretti family on hand. I mean,
well, there's so much passion in the Andretti family for motorsport in general, but particularly with Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it's the perfect story.
And here you see CrowdStrike fastest lap by the starting driver in this car, Pat Gallagher, the Pat Gallagher, at a 1:30.517. And I've got to say, Matt Dalton, when he got in the car, he had that little bobble at turn 2, lost a couple of spots, ended up dropping outside of the top 5 in the Pro-Am class. Near the end, he outraced some pretty talented guys and brought that thing right back up to a podium in Pro-Am for Matt Dalton. His name's Joe. He goes by Matt to honor his grandfather. And boy, has he done that this weekend in spades. What a great weekend for RS1 in general, obviously, with the big overall win yesterday for the Porsche, and for the Notlad Racing Aston Martin indicated it.
Well, the season's just finishing, but I'm so excited about what may happen next year with the performances that we've seen through the 2nd half of this year. Obviously dealing with the COVID crisis and the lockdown for a few months, back to racing, and Pirelli GT4 action, it did not disappoint. It's been sensational this year.
And that time he'll be happy to have that door open on him. Boy, what a hard to throw moment, but dealing with it beautifully. So let's take a look at our provisional results. There you see overall and in Pro-Am, Robbie Foley and Michael Dinan. And that is enough to give them the win. They're championship contenders, 0.9 behind them at the end. Travis and Hartford Nola Sport that close. Then in the third spot, Andretti and Mullen finishing in front of Whitmer and Gottsacker. The the McLaren over the BMW. And by winning, they get that championship. Just incredibly close action. Again, you look at third in the silver category, John Miller and Samantha Tan. Great run for them. And as we talked about, third in Pro-Am, Dalton and Gallagher. So absolutely superb there. And then Walker winning in the AM category with the number 3 of McAleenan and Rogers. That's the McLaren from USA Motorsports, sitting second in AM and third. The team car, great drive for the 111 of Todd and Tyler Clark to bring that car home as well. So absolutely marvelous podiums after an amazing weekend of racing. And as you pointed out, this has been such a disjointed year with the COVID scenario, but boy, did it come good in the end.
It did. So much drama yesterday, but today was all about execution for the championship contenders. Just a wonderful battle. And a big celebration there for Robbie Foley and Michael Dinan. He did a great job there in terms of the pressure was on. Was flawless, didn't make a mistake. He'll be chuffed with that one.
Absolutely, and 2 championships this year for Dinan. You factor in his sprint championship as well. So mighty good year at this stage. And Michael very aware of the protocols there. He wanted to get a mask, but for this picture he wanted to see some smiles. So now he'll get that mask on. I saw him signifying I need one. Let's get down to Ryan.
Well, we got the Andretti Autosport duo who clinch a championship. Jarrett, we'll start with you. To clinch a championship here at Indianapolis, a track that has meant so much to your family, and to do it in a paint scheme that is so associated with your father, who we all miss so much. There's something a little bit poetic about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I don't really know what to put it into words. I mean, just getting to drive this car with his name over the other, the passenger door, and the scheme that I remember coming here and watching him run, and how much he put into this program even in the last year. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the guys, and just so thankful for Window World and all my other partners that allowed us to run this scheme that's not their typical color scheme.
But very special and a great look as well. Congratulations on all the success. Quickly, Colin, man, that last stint had a little bit of everything in it. And you were stuck watching. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to put everything into words too. This team has been through so much this year. It's so special for us to be running this livery, like Jarrett said. We have the crew sign the hood for the last race with these cars for us this year. It's incredible. So happy to bring home a win for these guys.
Phenomenal season for you guys. Well done. I'm going to have our crews come with me. We're going to go over here and talk to our overall winners, our Pro-Am champions as well. Michael Dinan, we'll talk to you first. In many respects, this has been the year of Michael Dinan. 16 wins and 2 championships. Not a bad second year in the series.
Not at all, Ryan. Yeah, super thrilled with this result. So obviously yesterday did not go our way, but we knew it was all going to come down today. We were still in the hunt, and 1-2 finish with Travis. He was coming after me at the end. Just tried to put in clean laps, keep the pace up, and yeah, there's no better way to win it than in the last race. So definitely maybe a slightly sweeter feeling than the Sprint Championship, but super stoked to get this one with Robbie, and hopefully on to big things next year as well. So yeah.
You can see the smile under the mask.
Yeah, no, for sure. Huge smiles.
Well done. We'll have Robbie step in here next. Robbie, we've talked about how you've mentored Michael along the way, but your driving this year has been tremendous as well. You look at the pros in these Pro-Am lineups, and it's a who's who in a lot of respects. You went toe-to-toe with them all year. How big was that for you as much as anything else?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, as you said, there's a lot of talented guys. I'm just really lucky to be paired with Michael, who really stepped it up this year, and I think he made the difference. Obviously, you could see in all the races, the pros at the front are very, very close, but he was one of the standout guys in AM. So amazing job by him all year. Really big thanks to the team that gave us a great car. And yeah, thanks to our teammates and everybody that made this possible. It's been a dream season for us coming back from last year, and yeah, it's awesome.
Congratulations on an awesome season.
It was that, no question about it. And they had that little bit of a falter yesterday and just came back with resounding form today.
They did, and the pressure was on, and Michael Dinan was up to the challenge. He rebounded nicely from a day yesterday, and we talk about the door opening in the championship. Well, the door was open on that window world machine, but Gerald Andrade certainly didn't crack his door open in terms of letting the competitors by. So just great to see it come down to the wire, winning the race to win the championship. That really is the icing on the cake.
Just incredible, and there you can see the final margin, 2 points. And so close once again for Travis and Hart. They just have not quite been able to get there, but you can't take anything away from the performances they put in this year. Jason Hart, we know what a talent he is, but Matt Travis, along with Dinan, I mean, 2 of the very best in the AM category for sure. And then look at this margin at the end, 6 points.
Yeah, and congratulations to the ST Racing team. They finished second and third in the points with John Miller, Samantha Tan there, as you can see. Just getting ahead of the crossbow pairing of Matt Silliahaug and Nikolai Alganian. So tough day for them with the retirement, and cost them a position in the champ.
All right, and of course there was the AM Championship, or the AM race that had unfolded, and it was another NOLA Sport car for the second straight day atop that one.
That's right, father and son, David and Russell Walker. David, 72 years young. You had the final stint. You had to charge to the front of your class. How did you do it?
Bringing home. It was just great to be here at Indy, and this is our second win, second first we've ever had. Our first year, we've only done 5 races. I think we may be third in the championship, so it's just a beautiful day in the neighborhood here.
It is indeed.
My son brought it home. He qualified in 9th, so
yeah,
that was beautiful.
Let's talk to you real quick to get to share this with your father. What is the meaning of that?
It's probably the most special thing I can possibly imagine, sharing with someone else and sharing with him. But the NOLA Sport team did an amazing job. He brought it home. Couldn't be more proud of him than I am. And it's excellent.
Congratulations, guys.
So happy. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, just truly a remarkable journey for this team. And let's not forget, the team that won the AM Championship is Sean Gibbons and Zach Anderson, and they weren't able to make it this weekend due to some damage from an incident at COTA that they couldn't get repaired, but had enough of a margin and a strong season to win it over the Racers Group Porsche of DeBoer and Rappaport, and the also absent John Allen and Chris Wilson. So, well, that wraps up an amazing season in Pirelli GT4 America Sprintx competition here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a track that promoted some phenomenal racing, and the races didn't disappoint. As you said, Cal, makes us look forward to next year. For Cal and for Ryan, I'm Greg Creamer. Thank you so much for joining us here from Indianapolis. We'll see you next season.